Hello again, Chris Lee and Jay Greeson of Southeastern 16 here to preview the Arkansas Razorbacks for 2025. We're doing this during media days. Interesting season for Sam Pittman, who enters the year on the hot seat for the umpteenth straight year. But some good things out of the Razorbacks a year ago with Bobby Petrino coming back to help with the offense. Interesting year for Sam Pittman and the Hogs ahead, Jay.
Without question. You feel great about the quarterback, but then you look up and every one of his pass catchers who played a meaningful role last year are gone. I mean, The stat I saw, Arkansas lost its top 8 in terms of receiving production, and most depth charts have all 3 starting wide receivers and the tight end are portal guys. So if this season is going to be do anything to turn the heat down on Sam Pittman's butt, they better have truly worked through the offseason developing some chemistry.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how maybe who's the most valuable player in the league to their team. Diego Pavi would probably be the guy, because if they lose him, then what is Vanderbilt? But I think Taylen Green might be 1B on that list, because I think if he goes down, and I think, look, when he works out well, it's pretty spectacular. Arkansas was top 10 in offense in the country last year, I think, in total yards. But scoring offense, I think they were around 30, and the reason was turnovers. And a lot of that was on Taylen Green, not just him, but just fumbles across the roster. My buddy Andrew Hutchinson told me that Arkansas, since Sam Pittman took over, has, I think, fumbled more than any time in any team in the country. So to me, Arkansas, item 1 and 2 on Arkansas's to-do list this year is keep Taylen Green healthy and limit your turnovers, because I think if those 2 things are not answered in the right way, you're potentially looking at a really long year in Fayetteville.
Just because of expectations, I would add 2 names to the quote-unquote most vital player in the MVP conversation, this being July 17th. Because their expectations are higher, DJ Lagway is more important to the Gators than Taylen Green is to Arkansas, and Lenora Sellers is more important to the Gamecocks than Taylen Green is to the Razorbacks. And I just say that because those guys are linchpins on programs that have legit playoff whispers, if not something stronger. But you're right. Taylen Green is, a complete and total difference maker. And while they're replacing everybody with a number in the 80s or a single digit who runs around outside the tackle box, getting a second year in Bobby Petrino's offense will only make Taylen Green better. Now, I've said it many times, I wouldn't trust Bobby Petrino to cut my yard twice a month. But as a play caller and an offensive mind, that dude is good. So, Taylen Green has a huge upside. But I think the questions internally are more about who's going to help him than how they're going to prevent turnovers. Because you're right. You turn it over, you're going to lose. But that's true for everybody, whether you're Texas or Arkansas. And you're at both ends of the spectrum. So I think that's a universal concern. Arkansas in particular is, who are we going to find that's going to help take some of the load off Taylen Green?
Yeah, I think we're both getting at it a different way and really agreeing in a roundabout way, because, look, the difference between those quarterbacks that you mentioned, for Florida and who was the other one?
Lenora Sellers of South Carolina.
Yeah, I think the surrounding cast around those guys, the rest of the team is better than Arkansas. So to me, those 2 things have to go right, for a good season to be on the table. If they don't, you can forget it, because I think the surrounding cast, I have a hard time thinking it can make up. I think at receiver, they brought in a couple of slot guys. Raylan Sharp, Cam Shanks are probably pretty good. But you look at the team, and this goes to running back too, and even tight end. not a lot of guys that have proven much, Jay, at bigger levels. Now, look, there's a lot of SEC teams that have said that before. Teams are using the portal of finding guys from the MAC or the FCS or whatever. And sometimes those guys go in the league and hit, but sometimes they don't. And I just have a hard time knowing, like, who is the dude on that offense that's not named Taylen Green? They've got just some guys that have played, the running back room. Mike Washington might be your starter there. Braylon Russell was, I think the stat line got padded a little bit by a game or two last year. I don't know that they have a dog in their running back room like they've had before. And the receivers feels like just more of a do it by numbers thing because I don't see a standout there immediately either.
Well, the questions around the offense, because you're right, they have brought in some guys that in the portal offensively. But, man, when you're 3 starting wide receivers and 5 of your top 6 on your depth chart running patterns for Taylen Green are all portal guys, both tackles, your center and your tight end are portal guys, at least on the projected depth chart that I've got in front of me. It is the learning curve of trying to figure this out, both in terms of scheme and in terms of chemistry, is a true challenge, especially with these limited hours that teams get. Now, the opposite side of that, and I know we'll break down their defense too, that's going to be a more experienced group with a whole lot of guys who've now been in that program a couple, 3 years.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking for a bright side on the offense outside of Taylen Green, it would be this. We talked about turnovers. How do you prevent turnovers? A lot of times it's protect your quarterback. And left side of the line ought to be pretty good. Corey Robinson at Georgia Tech, I think, was Pro Football Focus's highest-rated pass protector last year. I think he maybe missed some time. And then you move Fernando Carmona inside, who was their left tackle last year. He's playing left guard. Anytime you can move a left tackle into guard, a lot of times you're playing from a position of strength a little bit. So I think that's going to help them maybe where the playmakers around him are not maybe what you would hope.
That's completely fair. But as much as I have said routinely that Hugh Freeze's white lava hot seat as Auburn's coach is going to be tied to Jackson Arnold, you could make the same statement about Sam Pittman. Because if Taylen Green's not great, Arkansas is going to have a hard time scoring points.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the defense in a minute, too, because that'll be a key part of the season. But first, let's talk about game time sidekicks. Jay Greeson, when you get your morning coffee, you use game time sidekicks to keep it hot. My morning caffeine is iced tea, and it does the same thing. The ice will stay solid for hours. The construction of this thing is unbelievable. It literally will keep your ice icy for half a day, But the construction, these things are work of art, man. The logo printing's done in Knoxville. These look incredible. They've got literally thousands of these. If your teams want a title, like LSU did in baseball, you can get your title merchandise. Game Time Sidekicks. Go there, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Promo code SE16 for 20% off your order. I know you use it and swear by it too. All right, the defense. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm ready.
Yeah, I would say the linebacker is a strength here. Xavian Sorey, Steven Dix are 2 pretty good players. Tavion Wallace was the top 100 recruit who will play. When you're starting at the strength of the defense, you add in Andrew Harris, who will be depth from UCF, who I think was a decent player there. That feels like that's the strongest part of this unit.
I agree. And you're talking about in Dix and Sorey, 2 guys that are 22, 23-year-old guys who've been around, unbelievably athletic. It's more of a 4-2-5 set, but they added a couple of secondary pieces through the portal. But again, there's a whole lot of experienced guys with redshirt senior, redshirt junior, true senior next to their name in the roster, which in this league is hard to overstate the importance of that, because you're talking about guys who've not only been in various systems multiple years, they've been lifting and training and preparing at the college level now for 3 and 4 years apiece. So defensively, I think Arkansas is going to be a lot saltier than people realize, but are they going to be able to score 26 a game? Because you're going to have to in this league.
I have the opposite concern. I don't know if they can get stops. I mean, outside of that part of their defense, Cam Ball's pretty good up front. It's going to be a committee thing up front with a lot of guys who've been bit players. The secondary, I think there's some dudes there. Miguel Mitchell is a talented player, spent some time at Florida. Julian Neal, the transfer cornerback from Fresno, I think is going to be a nice player. Probably, Jaheim Singletary will be in there. I mean, they've got a little bit of depth there. Caleb Wooden, safety transfer from Auburn, will probably start. I just don't know if there's enough dudes. I mean, and remember, they lose Landon Jackson too, who not only was super talented, but a very mature kid, I think, and a leader. I just have questions at the other spots, Jay.
Well, and could be fair because you mentioned Landon Jackson, and he was a dude. I mean, when you got guys who can get to the quarterback, they're worth their weight in gold at any level, whether it's Pop Warner or on Sundays in October at MetLife. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I think this team can do well, other than just saying, hey, Taylen Green, we need you to throw for 280 and run for 120, because that's a tall task in this league.
Well, and see, that's where I'm with him too. That's why I'm having a little difficulty, because I look at him on paper and I just don't feel like this stacks up with the top 10, 12 SEC teams. But I look at who their coordinator is, and Bobby Petrino has worked wonders with offenses before. At this Arkansas stop, it is previous Arkansas stop, and some, in between. So that's 1A. Like, it feels like if you're ever going to bet on a coordinator to transcend the talent beyond the sum of the parts, I mean, okay, Jay Greeson, if you said last year, and I guess you can look at offense two different ways, right? One way you can look at is yards. That was one message. Points was another. But still top 30 in the country. I don't know that Arkansas was a top 30 talent offense a year ago. Would you agree with me? I mean, outside of quarterback position, and even that was uneven, I didn't see a surrounding cast of just studs here and there.
Well, I think that's sleeping a little bit on Andrew Armstrong, who had almost 30 catches. Now, he didn't find the end zone a whole lot, but he had more than 1,100 yards and was truly reliable. But that kind of goes to your conversation of an Arkansas team that put up a lot of yards, but not anywhere close to the comp in points.
Yeah, and the lost Rocket Sanders, last year too from the year before. So I just don't – I guess this is what I'm saying. I feel like the offense last year from a yard standpoint outperformed what it should have done. Now, from a points perspective, maybe not. But, again, we pointed to how you fix that. It's the turnovers issue. So, let's say you do that. Offensive outlook is a little brighter. Do they have enough talent? We'll see. But, again, you got a guy that can coach them up. Defense is where I'm having more of a problem. You win with dudes in the trenches, and I just don't know that up front they've got the guys like they've had before, and I'm not sure they've got a ball hawker in the secondary either.
Well, I think the back seven with the linebackers and a couple of the new pieces in the secondary, I think the back seven is going to be fine. What I think Bobby Petrino must check off his list, and I know he's back on the offensive side, is Taylen Green can't have your most carries this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 156 of their 494 total rushes last year. That's not a recipe for success.
But that goes back to, if not him, then who?
Right.
So
and I know as we're about to look at their schedule, this Vegas number surprised me a little bit. Their over/under win total's 4.5.
yeah, well, let's get to that, see if they can hit it. Reminder, Rockform also sponsors our content, ROKFORM.com. If you like to protect your cell phones, my goodness, I'm so sick of ordering, 2 phone cases a year and 4 screen protectors through Amazon and having them go bad. Just pay the money. Go to rockform.com, get stuff that's going to really protect your devices. They've also got your stuff for golf. They've got a fantastic Bluetooth speaker that you can attach to the side of your cart. Rockform.com, help out those who help the show. All right, Jay, the schedule. 4.5 is the over/under. Look, you get 2 out of the gate, I think. Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. It's picking up a give me later that becomes an issue. Mississippi State is the most obvious answer. After that, I mean, Memphis in week 4 is one where Arkansas is probably going to be favored, but I think that one's on the road, and Memphis is generally pretty good. You got a home game with Notre Dame and the Lou Holtz Bowl, week 5. That'll be kind of interesting. Not a game that you usually see. And then you've got a gauntlet in between Tennessee, A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas, Missouri. You get an off date and Mississippi State in there. Otherwise, everybody else on that schedule is going bowling and maybe competing for the playoff. That's why that number is low.
Well, it is. But I think there's a little overvalue in the eyes of just knowing the South the way we do, Chris. Yes, that Arkansas at Memphis game is a road game in Memphis. Arkansas will have 60% of the fans, at least, just because of the proximity to the state and how many of the people on that side of the state don't always get to see the Hogs play in the northwest corner of the state. So Notre Dame's going to be a chore. If you steal one at home against A&M or Auburn, then I see you getting north of 5 because I don't think Mississippi State's going to be real good.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But, hey, leave it to Sam Pittman. Feels like just when you kind of bury him, he comes up with a better year than you think. And remember the way he started, nobody had that on the bingo card. So I think this team is a real wild card. You can name the reasons why it could be better. You could also name the reasons why it could be worse, and that's what makes them interesting.
I would still probably bet under 4.5, especially since you're getting plus money on that line, just because Texas A&M and Auburn have too many pieces. And then you're looking at, are you going to steal one in Knoxville? Are you going to steal one at home against Notre Dame? That's a tough ask to me.
Yeah, well, hey, look, if that's what it is, you're probably looking at a coaching change in Fayetteville. I'd hate to see it just because I've always enjoyed Sam Pittman being in this league. Seemed like an easy guy to root for. So I'm hoping you're wrong, but we'll see what happens. All right, we're here to preview every single SEC team this year. We do it at our channel. We cover baseball, football, basketball. Please, if you don't, subscribe to the channel. That always helps us out. It's free. It costs you nothing. Leave us a thumbs up if you like the video. That helps our analytics, and leave some nice stuff in the comments too. For Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching our football content here at Southeastern 16. God bless you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.